got to think about the farmers with cattle downstream. And so I made a few calls with farmers all downstream, went down Leonard Langs and on further down, and all those were grazing in that area, and told them what possibly could happen. These gasolines and fuels that are floating could be in that drinking water. And at this time of the year, most of your cattle are drinking out of streams instead of out of the lakes because it's moving clear water. And it was at that particular time. And so they did, most of them that I talked to, they pulled their cattle right out and moved them up into higher ground and let them into other fields. So happened, thank God, we got a good beautiful rain the other night and it cleaned it out real good. But that could be the opposite. We wouldn't get the rain, and that still water could hang in there and be dangerous to all those cattle that's up and down the streams.
One other thing about calling DNR, the gentleman whose field this ran onto, he sent backhoe down there to dike it, and it's my understanding that he didn't want us in his field. He didn't want us to dike it. He didn't want us tearing his place up, and that's an understandable reaction. Well, the thing is, I wanted DNR to be down there to discuss it with him, and if DNR wanted it diked bad enough that they were going to argue with him, then DNR could argue with him, and I wouldn't have to. And if DNR wasn't worried enough about it to have it diked, whether the farmer wanted to or not, then it wasn't a problem with me. Had DNR not been there, I'd been left with a feeling that I should be down here arguing with this farmer, which I really don't want to do, but I don't have to. And so that's one reason I wanted DNR to come in and take care of the environmental problem. That's what he gets paid dollars for, and that's his special profession or specialty or whatever you want to call it.
And that's his authority.
That's his authority too. He's got a lot more authority than I do.
I'll tell everybody here that don't forget to call them, because you get a lot less trouble by calling than you do by not calling. I'll tell you that. They'll create a problem for them if you don't call them, even though it may not be one. But if you have one that may not be one and they're there, then you've really got yourself cleared out pretty good shape that way. You're not taking any chances. So
I've learned that they're pretty good people to work with. This guy seems to be overly concerned at all about going down the ditch.
You do concern yourself about runoff, because that is something that you definitely forget about until you're too far along, and maybe it's going to go down the stream a mile and a half on you when you should have diked it off right here in front of the door. So kind of remember that. Maybe you should have had that backhoe 2 hours ahead of time. So don't let something like that drag on until you really got a problem. Something has to be where it has to be, earth has to be removed. It's a lot easier to move short distance. You have to move more of it than it is to move 2 miles of ditch. It has to get it up in 50-gallon barrels. And in some cases, some chemicals, that happens.
DNR told me that the fuel or that the ground underneath the tanks would have to be removed to hazardous material landfill. And whether that's something that I don't know, but if that's the case, then how far we let it run, well, that's that much more dirt to move. So that's one thing I was thinking about, was that it may be a headache to get them in there, maybe a headache to dike and all that, but I was thinking about the idea of maybe keeping the headache as small as possible.
One other thing that I want to mention is that I've been contacted indirectly from the National Fire Protection Administration, and they want what we can provide them concerning this incident. Apparently they are currently working on above ground storage tank legislation, so they want our incident as an illustration of how things can go wrong or whatever.
About this point in time into the incident, like I said, we pretty much released Boonville. We said the garage boys there and from another Boonville firefighters. So Boonville has pretty much been released from the Boone County yet. And we kept Howard County there. I talked with Jerry and kind of asked him to keep a couple tankers there, and he was more than happy and willing to do that for us. We moved the whole operation across the road into the parking lot of the filling station. We set up engine 5 or engine 2 pumping. Engine 5 initially we kept shuttling water back and forth. We had a driver in engine 1 at this point, and it was shuttling water. Howard County tankers were shuttling water. We was having enough water there that they were actually having to wait for a change. We wasn't having to flow near as much water at that point onto the fuel tanks. At this point in time, we made the request for Boonville to send us the pumping network. We were thinking at this point in time, we were going to get Huntley's wrecker in there. We were going to pull back the vehicles away from the tanks, the burned up vehicles. We went ahead and put them out the rest of the way. pull the vehicles away from the tank and then vanish.
Well, my concern was that it would be there all night running that the rest of the fuel leveled up. It looked like this thing was going to drag on forever. And while initially I had intention of letting the fuel burn as long as it could, it's only after a while I got down to where it was just barely burning. I couldn't see staying all night with that. And I wanted to get it out and get it wrapped up and get home. It's getting ready to get dark. And in order to get the fuel stopped, we had to use the truck out of it. And I didn't want to drag it out of the way because I was afraid of pulling the pipes loose and causing more fuel to flow out, in which case we could have another big fire or we had fuel run off. So I finally decided to get a record and tip it over sideways in order to keep the dragging pipes loose. And then I decided, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm probably somewhere we're going to screw up and pull the pipe loose anyway. So I'm going to count on things not going right, and I'm going to count on going wrong. Today was the 13th, and it's been going wrong for that anyway, we just count on it. So that's when we decided to put the backhoe back in there and dike it off. Como had been there and put the lines back up and recharged them. And so now we got lines down back there that we think are hot, and we'll put the backhoe back there with hot lines. So we called Como again and had them come out. Well, they assured us that the one line that was still down wasn't hot, it was neutral. And the one that was up on the pole was okay, we didn't have to worry about it. So we went ahead and put in a dike and a kind of a holding kit to catch the runoff. And when Clark came out there and said, what kind of a hole do you want? I said, a deep one, 12 feet, whatever you can reach. And at that point, him being a good backhoe operator, thought of something I hadn't thought of. How many sewer lines, telephone cables, fiber optic cables, water pipes, graveyards, and whatever else we're going to dig into here. And this caused me a moment of deep thought, because it's something I hadn't thought of until then. And it's good to have somebody who knows what they're doing in that special area of expertise. So I decided maybe I didn't need one 12 feet deep. Maybe we could buy a little less. So we picked a spot and we put in a hole that we thought would be adequate. And we got a cable in the process. One that we assumed went out to an old abandoned pump. And we got our dike in, and then we decided we were ready to pull the truck off of the fuel lines. We got Huntley out there and told him what we wanted to do. And it was going to be his decision as to whether he wanted to do it or not. And of course, we were keeping his records out away from it, so hopefully it wouldn't have been too much danger. Clark volunteered backhoe and sacrifice it to the effort, and we decided we didn't want to do that. So we got ready to winch him up, and we decided in case the fuel spills and catches on fire, we're going to be ready to foam it. So we set up 2.5-inch foam lines, got all our foam ready, charged the nozzle, got it flushed out, and had a 2.5-inch safety line charged, another 1.5-inch charged, and all ready to go, and had Huntley start to rock it up, and when he started moving the tank, he was pulling on the front, or moving the truck, he was moving the front and back both at the same time, and when he pulled on the front, it rubbed sideways, and one of the pipes started to pull loose. So we had to stop him and get him to pull this on the back end of the truck and twist it in order to make the front end come up easier instead of dragging sideways. And so we got all that worked out again and started pulling. And about that time I heard what in my mind sounded like the pipeline valve being opened and pressurized gas coming out somewhere, and for about 4 seconds I was most scared I've been all day long. It scared me worse than being up there at the fuel pump looking at that fire and 3 or 4 hours earlier, and it turned out I got around one of my guys had opened up an 1.5-inch nozzle. And just the fact that I didn't know what was going on for a split second. And like I said, I thought it was fuel leak or something. I couldn't imagine where it came from, but I didn't know it. Anyway, we got the truck rolled out of the way. I could tell where our pipes were coming from, and found the valve or two and started turning them off. And that's pretty well when we got it wound down, got the fire out finally. I had thought about foaming the tank, one of the tanks inside, and trying to put it out that way. We never had to do that. left with about 300 gallons of gasoline in the storage tank, and it was still leaking at that point. So Bryson brought out a tank from the truck and pulled the fuel out of the tank, put it on the truck, and I think we wound up with what looked like 5 or 10 gallons leaking into the pit. And again, if they had a boo-boo, it could have been 300 in the pit, off over the side of the incident. We had damned it. So it turned out to be went out of a way that was right on the tail end, even though we started out wrong first of it. So that's about it.
I got 3 points. One, go back to position of trucks. Over there, I could not see roadheading zero. I could not see the personnel. That coming into everybody calling me about shutting down and stuff. At one point, we had one of our personnel on 2.5, had him up at 125 pounds, shut it down at 100 pounds. I got hollered at again, shut down some more, and it's 50 pounds at that moment. I don't know if we are, I don't know if 20 more lines for it, but it should be costing me that kind of
Another thing we had to think about was flowing foam. We had to take both of those trucks up to over 200 pounds of pressure in order to have our foam lines ready to roll. And we were at that particular time, the 2.5, I had it looped around with guys sitting on it. And the 1.5 inch, I had 2 guys on the end. And the foam lines, considering the friction loss through the foam reductors, we could only have about 100 pounds of pressure there. I figured the guys on the end of those would take care of that pretty well. We did run a foam line off of each truck instead of just off of one truck, so that if something would have happened that might happen with engine 5 bid 9, that we had a backup foam line ready to go in that.
And we call for more foam.
Yeah, we also had Windmill brought us out 7 jugs plus this van of foam. We didn't specify AFFF. Was that AFFF foam you sent out, or it was? Okay. I couldn't find it on the label on it, and I was assuming that it was. We opened up all the foam jugs and just had them open in case we figured if we ever initially had to start flowing, we wasn't going to have time to get pops off of them, so we had it all set up. And then I hope all your pops got put back on. And I think I'm at fault with Danny's 4 seconds of panic, because I had one of the guys, some garbage rolled out of the truck, and I had him hit it for a split second with
Kept
another one.
burning up.
Well, I didn't want a hot fire. At that point, we didn't have any fire. I didn't want a fire rolling down there where that gasoline was at and causing that stuff to ignite with those guys standing down there. Bob?
On safety reasons there, I know that a lot of guys that stand back there with that 2.5 inch hose right behind that garbage truck. There was not enough ventilation on that garbage truck. Them doors could have blew open, blew glass, trash, anything back that way towards them. And that here they were standing there behind it with water and stuff, and that could have blew any time, just well from gas tank. Could cause lots of problems too. There was not enough ventilation.
Well, there was ventilation out the side.
And the front of it was open.
And the whole
Yeah,
front's been
but
like
there
that.
wasn't enough, because you can see on the back of that truck,
Yeah,
with the
bolt.
gates open, how it bolted, that was pressed against it. There was not enough with that kind of heat and everything built up in there, so.
Once we got the product pumped off, and basically we got everything out and come back here and start working.
Anybody have any comments about Channel 8?
They were in the way.
They got arrested.
Did they ever?
Yeah, the court date's April 4th, anybody wants to report that? I'm not sure what the charge was.
How many times did anybody see him in the way?
I've seen them a bunch of times.
I thought it was 3 or 4 times.
All right, Dan. Frank, can you bring up comments? Yeah. How much trouble we even got in the food around with it?
I'm not sure where we got it.
Yeah.
I don't think got a word released about it. If she parked it in the way of the truck going back to the hydrant, why would we get in any trouble?
Well, I just, you know,
We should.
I wouldn't have thought it would be
I didn't say like,
I know at one time I looked across the road, and I think it was one of Boone County stuff, I'm not sure, was sitting there, and he was having to wait because she was conducting an interview in the half of the driveway that we were using to haul water in and out of. And I went across the road and screamed at her, and I had to scream at her 3 times before she moved out of the road. And when she did, she walked out of the way and left the tripod in the road. And she better be damn glad that I wasn't driving that truck, because I'm honored enough sucker that if I'd had the opportunity right then, along about that time of the day and been through what I've been through, I'd have just had none. I mean, I'd have probably regretted it. I'd have probably regretted it later, but I can just assure you guys that I would probably have run right over the thing. And I don't know what she could have said, you know. She could take you to court and sue you for damages, but I don't think there's too many juries that get it.
Martin Lee, you were involved in it from the standpoint of owning the tanks, the canopy, and the pump, am I correct?
Product.
And the product. How do you overall see the way it went, and what input do you get?
I think you all done a pretty good job.
What, do you know of anything that we could have done that helps you out, or how does it look from the overall insurance point of view of getting stuff replaced out there? Does it look like it's going to happen fairly easily, or are you going back with above ground storage tanks or underground storage?
Well, they advised me today to go above ground, we're gonna move them over the back and do it like that.
Something that I noticed, I'm not putting Martin Lee's tanks down by any means. We talked about this, Danny and I both have, and several other people, about the, if we'd had a concrete barrier around there, it might have stopped that truck from hitting the tanks. And the other thing, were they equipped with fusible link fuel shutoffs on them? We didn't see any. We were wondering if they would have been equipped with the shutoffs.
Both ways, but I'm not sure.
If they
That,
would,
how many years has that
Yeah.
plant been there? It's been a long time, probably.
that might have eliminated a little of a problem if they would have been.
Back before they were required, probably.
Well, the tanks have been there, I don't
Yeah,
know.
they've been there a long time. And it's something we just
Original
noticed.
tanks are at both places.
That's right.
It was the original setup there at that place.
A lot of times we take for granted that all tanks have that on them, and there's, here's a situation that I never did see them. If they're on there, I didn't see them, that they didn't. And, that might help their problem a little bit. And I'm not getting down on y'all by any means, but, just something to think about. If we have another one, that all tanks don't have these shutoffs on.
the other thing I was bringing up, and I figure out what it was. I had a call to my attention, Ben, you might have something to say on this too. When we were filling tankers out of Greenville High School's hydrant, and hydrant carried high school, seemed like, I've been hearing comments, we kind of caused a lot of confusion with buses at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A couple of bus drivers I heard got out and kind of upset because they couldn't get into the high school with their kids.
I would do.
I've heard a lot of comments about that, and that's why I just wanted to.
I know we played havoc with them trying to keep their classrooms in order, because every time a fire truck come in there with a siren on, that the kids would
Well,
run
it's,
through the
it's a legitimate complaint got now.
I think I told some of y'all when that day, y'all know later there. About the incidents.
I think it's mainly better than what I understand.
Santa Fe.
Never saw it, man.
Do we, I don't know, if we could start using that one.
That was a problem.
Santa Fe. Santa Fe right now.
Yeah, I'm the one that sent it to the high school, just because I
Well,
didn't think it was.
that's one we've always used all along, and,
I just heard that over the weekend, it caused a little problem.
yeah, that's what I say, it's a legitimate complaint on their part.
We had a propane tank behind the structure that we were worried about. We didn't want it to explode. We kept water on it, and we kept water on the fuel storage tanks. And at this time, we feel that the majority of the fuel has burned out of the tanks. We will
Boonville women to the hospital with severe burns. The women were driving a garbage truck when its brakes went out. The truck ran head-on into fuel tanks at Randy's service station in Boonville. Joyce Gully and her daughter are in intensive care at University Hospital.
It was one big inferno by the time I got here, but fortunately we're really thankful to the Lord that it's a miracle that lady got out of there alive. Because
A truck rolled into fuel storage tanks and severed some supply lines leading from the tanks. The truck ignited, fuel storage tanks became involved in the fire, and the building adjacent to the fuel storage tanks became involved in the fire.
The fire spread to a field behind the gas station and to cars in the parking lot. Firefighters had trouble putting out the flames even hours after the accident.